everybody. It's right in front of your face. Look at that.
It's a great improvement.
Oh, would you stop it? So this is Lexx, Season 2, Episode 3, Lyekka, not spelled like you think it will be.
Lyekka.
This is a very offensive episode. I'm not even on Tumblr, and I was very offended, I'm just saying.
This episode that was nearly a sequel to Eating Pattern from Season 1. Nearly.
So, anyway, so offended. So...
You have to wear something American to show off how offended you are.
No, I didn't... I bleed red, white, and blue. I'm just offended all the time. That's how it goes. I'm probably suing someone right this second, you know.
We're so offended that Stephen McHattie died. I know I was.
But yeah, so, stop that. So, a plant, tentacle, octopus, sperm creature goes aboard Lexx and scans Stanley's brain, and he's dreaming about a girl that he asked out years and years ago, and she's like, no, fuck you. And he's like, oh. So she scans his brain, or the creature scans, the plant thing scans his brain, and she's like, I'll just be that. And she's like, hi, Stanley, how you doing? He's like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, this is gonna be one for Kai. So he goes and wakes up Kai, and Kai's like, well, there you go.
And Zev is still dead.
Zev is still dead. And 790 is having an eternal vigil of bad poetry by her protein
By
jar.
the Zev.
I hate
All
that
by
guy
the
so
all by the
much.
Zev. All night out by the Zev I lay.
The only benefit to his character at all was one time, like a few nights ago, when, you know, we were sleeping, and I was like, all night by the Zar. And I was funny. But yeah, so, in the meantime, they're contacted by the crew of Eagle 5, a little 3-person space pod, from a planet that is, well, it's an ethnic stereotype, is what it is. And I was very, very offended.
Of people from the Midwest in America in the 1960s.
Their planet is called Potato Hoe. And these 3 characters are like...
Iowa, Idaho, Wisconsin.
Super parody of, I guess, how Middle America is seen. Like, their wives all have names like Mary Moo and Sally Sue and...
Becky Boo.
And... They're like, values and things and stuff and gosh gee willikers and potatoes and pretend. Like, they go aboard Lexx, and it's really great because they're in spacesuits. And they're like, I'm the captain. And Stanley's like, yeah. Okay, and Kai's like, we can understand you. You can take your suits off now. That's what.
And then when they're looking at the Lexx and their ship, I don't know, it's probably because of how they filmed it, but it's pretty clear that they weren't in the pod when they were filming this bit. But B, from the angles of the actors in the windows, that's nowhere near where they would have been at that angle anyway.
Yeah, it was like you could tell how
this guy's over here,
you could tell how some of the shots were done, how some of the practical effects were done.
And these 3 guys, you got one of them's played by Stephen McHattie, another one's played by Jeffrey Hirschfield, who plays 790, and the other guy, I don't know who he is, but he was fine. No problems with him.
Yeah, so they're showing them around Lexx, and they're like, oh, well, you should have something to eat. And they all sit down at the bio tube dispensary and order potatoes. And they're like,
all look like phalluses.
The lead guy has like a potato masher that's like, you know how you'll have like those sporks and forks that like for camping that go and they clip up? He has a foldable potato masher.
And he asked for mashed potatoes, so
yeah,
he thought they wouldn't be mashed enough, so he had to bring his own.
Yeah. So they were so obnoxious, and I was hoping that they would die somehow. So I was not disappointed, because Lyekka's like, I'm hungry, things and stuff, and Stanley's like, that's alright, you behave yourself.
The way Lyekka's performed, it's like the actor can't actually speak English, so she's learned all of her lines phonetically.
Yeah.
Which really works, because the character's
German.
She's not meant to be a person who speaks human language and stuff, so that's okay. But when you saw her in the dream, the person that the Lyekka character was based on...
was speaking English with a German accent.
In the exact same way. So it's like, oh, it's ruined. Illusion is gone.
You learned your lines phonetically. But, yeah, so Stanley's showing off the Lexx, and he's like, hey, Lexx, blow up that small planet over there. I love that there's always a convenient moon or small planet for Lexx to destroy that's conveniently uninhabited.
It wasn't quite that. It was, say, if I told the Lexx to blow up that small planet there, then Lexx automatically does it.
Yes,
Stan didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so
dear.
he accidentally blows up their space pod. They're like, well, how are we going to get home? And he's like, I'll take you home, don't worry about it. So everyone's sleeping, and the Potato Hoe astronauts decide that they're going to do reconnaissance. and one by the two little minor ones run into Lyekka, who touches them and invokes like a fantasy of theirs, usually kind of sexual, and then
one of them's in a restaurant
with like total sideburns and everything,
looking like a space age 1980s spacey
like,
Elvis. And the waiter he's having this meal, and the waiter's Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It looks like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I have no confirmation.
He doesn't say anything though.
No,
but,
he doesn't even go with that. But yeah, so basically those two get eaten by the Lyekka plant, because there's her and then there's the plant, which is like this octopus thingy that's hanging down on the deck, which no one has noticed that it's there. They're all like, oh, I guess that octopus hentai creature's always been there on the deck.
Well, I think they noticed it's just like they figured it swims with Lyekka, so it's like, okay.
That's true.
The crew of the Lexx...
They didn't seem very, like, they seemed pretty nonplussed. Like, oh, a plant girl.
Very, very rationally, given what's happened to them, they have a very, very high threshold for their weirdness filter. It's like, they have a high tolerance for weird.
And
which I try to live up to that as well in my own day-to-day life.
That's your life then. So Kai witnesses the second one getting eaten. He goes waking Stanley up and he's like, she's a plant and she's eating people. And Stanley's like, this is great. He's like, well, okay. So the head of the
Kai's like, it sounds like, what about the last remaining potato hoe person? And Kai's like, I have no, what is it? I
have no motivation to save
him or to save her from him.
Yeah, and I was like, that's pretty much how we feel. So this captain finds Stanley on the bridge, and he's like, oh my guys, things and stuff, and then he's like, I can't find them. It's when they reach Potato Hoe. Now, Potato Hoe is not there, because in the scene previous, the little swarm of arms that Mantra, stop being arms on me, that Mantra had, came and made the planet into arms. But stop being arms. I'm serious now. So, they get there and Potato Hoe's not there. And I really had, like, it was really a Star Wars kind of moment. They're like, well, that's where it should be, but no Alderaan. And so, yeah.
I just see Mantrid pretending to be like the doctor from Human Centipede. It's like, where the arms, the potatoes, feed them! Feed them!
I don't even ever want potatoes ever again. But yeah, so then the captain blames Stanley. He's like, you blew it up, didn't you? And he's like, I didn't blow up your planet. And so then he finds one of the astronauts' boots on the ground underneath the Lyekka plant. He's like, look, this happened. And Stanley's like, basically, Lyekka's a plant and she ate your guys. And he's like, shut up, no, that's not, she's a human. She's as human as you are. No, really, Kai saw it and he told me everything. It was Kai. And so he's like, I'm going to kill him. And Stanley's like, you don't want to do that. So he goes off running after Kai, and then... No, he goes running off after Kai, and then encounters Lyekka, and he's like, where's my boys? And she's like, well, I ate them. And he's like, I don't believe you, it was Kai. So then she goes to Kai's chamber and takes the Zev protein jar.
The custard.
And so 790 freaks out and gets punted, which makes me happy. It makes my little heart beat when he gets punted somewhere in the episode. So there's a big showdown, and Kai and Stanley and 790 are like, you should probably stay away from him. And he's like, no, I'm going to face Kai. And she's like, that's not a good idea. And so he touches her, and everyone's like, no, and we fade into his biggest fantasy.
And this is one of the most beautifully surreal and possibly horrific things in Lex's entire run.
Like, earlier in the scene, he and his boys are talking about their ultimate fantasy, and he's talking about just hoeing the soil and potato hoe soil and the values of the land.
The other two ones came true in very symbolic ways.
Yeah, so the guy's like, I want to be with a supermodel. And the other guy's like, I want to be the first to meet an alien. And they both got their fantasy before being eaten. And so he's like hoeing in the soil. And then she's like his wife, and she's like, oh, aren't you going to come stop playing with the garden? Play with me. He's like, no, garden. And he's like walking around going, values, garden, potato hoe. And he's like watering like children, like their heads are coming up out of the ground. And he's like, cheer up, son, your values. And I was just like, what? So then he gets swallowed up by the creature.
It's
so
it's like
bizarre.
An insane parody of like
it's offensive. It's Canadians making fun of Americans. Germans and Canadians making fun of Americans is what this is about. And I thought we had a war to settle this up a while back.
It's like a fever dream of the most crazy, conservative, rural person in America.
I mean, there weren't any gays being crucified, but that's probably because they needed a 15 rating.
White people don't get brought into the world by sinful sex. They get grown in the garden.
Really, it was like
Away
Cabbage
from
Patch.
the city and the brown.
It's like
people.
Cabbage Patch gone so wrong. So he got swallowed up by the plants, and I was like, "Why did you eat him?" And Lyekka says, "Well, I didn't. I ate the other two, but I ate his protein." And they're like, "What?" And she says, "Well, I scanned your dreams, and I saw this girl, so I liked you already, so I thought I'd be one that you liked." And he's like, "What are you doing?" And then so the Lyekka plant part spits out a new Zev.
Lyekka had taken.
Because that can happen. Apparently.
Took Stephen McHatty's protein parts. Joined it with what was left of previous Zev.
Which apparently has all her memories too. Somehow.
Yeah, and based on the description of Zev given by 790, which was incredibly unhelpful and just poetic and talking about how amazing and awesome she is, they created the Xenia Seaborg version of Zev.
So, Zev's regenerated.
Basically, yeah, same character. Looks different, but basically same character. It's like a regeneration rather than like a recasting or something.
So, that happened. I was just happy that all the potato people died. And I am so offended, and I'm going to write to the Canadian Prime Minister and the German... I don't know who she is, Merkel.
But she's half Stephen McHattie now. That means if at any point in the next few years she goes, "It's a fake!" we know why. Because that's what Stephen McHattie did.
I'm not even on Tumblr, and I'm offended, and I'm just saying.
Stephen McHattie, that was his
most
famous
episode existed to bring Zev back, which I'm good with, and introduce a new crew member, because apparently Lyekka sticks around for a while, but I'm so very offended at the stereotypisms and rash
they do it again.
generalizations. Shut up. That my country has faced. Even though I am not from the Midwest, I'm from the civilized part of the country. I mean, you know, if you're not from the civilized part of the country, write the show. But yeah.
You just wait. You just wait for white trash.
You're the ones that you're always insulting Australia and stuff.
You see, what do you see white trash? It's where they attack another part of America.
Which one?
Appalachia.
They won't.
They never attack your part because they just be like, Philadelphia, you're basically New York.
No, we are not. There's a big difference between being from Philly and being from New York. And I know that to the untrained ears of Philistines, that a Philly accent can sometimes sound, especially people from the city, like deep in the city, can sometimes sound like a New York City accent, but that's not correct. That's not the way.
New York.
What'd I say?
New York.
No. Psh, you're wrong. They don't say wooder in New York City. They don't say
they beat their wives in New York, and that's what you just did.
Beat their wives everywhere. But they don't say, I mean, like, no, shut up. Anyway, this was an episode of Lexx Season 2, Episode 3.
Let us know if you've actually
shortly about to get divorced.
Let us know if you've actually gone out and bought Lexx to follow along with.
Someone has, apparently. I've heard
at least one person has. I think a couple of people have.
And if you look, you can get them really cheap at Target for like $5 a season, really. And I'm sure there's a box set out there. But yeah, go check it out. Watch along with the lesbians, and we'll see you next time. If she's still alive, which is doubtful at this point.
New York.